Yeah, I was thrilled. I mean, it was in the back of my mind that as good as what the build-up was, and it was big for the club, and starting our 150th year and having so many ex-players back and our fans and engaging with them, we still needed to go out against a top 4 team and get the job done. And I thought we did a great job. I thought our second half in particular, we got on top in the contest, which we were probably a little bit behind in that first half, and it was wonderful.
On paper, it may have looked like you were a bit skinny without Adams, Parker, Mills, but how important were those last quarter moments from the likes of Errol Goulden and Chad Warner?
Yeah, we're a couple of 22-year-olds, 21, 22, and so it's a big ask against that experienced midfield group, and that have been there and done that and continually perform the way they do Melbourne. Those young boys were good. The longer the game went, they were good. There were times when opposition mids got the better of us, and probably that first half. But I thought the longer the game went, our boys came into it, and the numbers we were putting through there was important, because the longer the game went, the better the run was. And it was a pretty wet weather game. The conditions were really hot and humid. After about 10 minutes into the second, it was pretty wet, straight line game. Really difficult conditions for the players, and so we were able to come out in the second half and win the contest, which was good.
John, Chad Warner obviously had a big influence in the second half, but it seemed that Isaac Heedy really set the tone throughout.
Yeah, he was enormous. I mean, his whole game was huge. His contest work in that first half was significant, and he played a great game. He was fantastic. We had those younger mids come on in the second half and do a really good job. Errol and Chad and those guys. I thought Rowie was probably, the longer the game went, the better he went too. And Juzzy, those guys. James, when the second half was better, but Isaac's 4-quarter performance was really strong.
There's been talks about Isaac moving into the midfield more regularly for many years, but how important is he going to be over this stretch before those other on-ballers get back?
Yeah, it's just, we talked about him at times tonight. It was a hard night for tall forwards to make an impact. And I was thinking, geez, at some point he could make an impact for us forward of the ball. Probably in that second quarter when it got really wet, it was really tough for the talls. So we talked about that, but he was going so well mid, and we thankfully kept him there. But there'll be changes during the course of games, and we'll put him to where we need him. But I think he's fine with that now. He's got a good feel for the game. He's had a wonderful summer, and his feel for the game's been excellent.
Is there something about his condition that I understand that there's like a needs basis at the moment, but something about how his pre-season has gone that makes you confident he can do the job?
He always has good pre-seasons. He's one of the hardest trainers I've seen. He's just fanatical in his preparation, and so he always, the only thing that ever stops him is an injury. Fortunately, that hasn't happened, but touch wood. But he's a real pro.
John, obviously, a lot of talk about clearance differential and stuff from last season, but to finish +10 against one of the best midfields in the competition, that must be a big tick early in the season.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was the second half, but I thought Brody's game was fantastic. They're going to be this year one of the best teams in it. Their midfield group's enormous. Max Gawn and those mids are huge. So it was a big ask for our lads, and I think we had 6 23 and under mids tonight. So when you think of that, it's a great experience for those boys. It would have been a great experience, win, lose or draw. Fortunately, we got on the right side of the ledger, and I just think it's a wonderful opportunity for that crew to play a bit of footy together.
You mentioned Brodie obviously pushed through the pain of a blue bottle sting earlier this morning, but
did he get a blue bottle sting?
On the back of his ear? Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
But he really worked his way into that game, and by the sort of third, fourth quarter, he looked like he was flying out there where others were maybe dropping because of that heat and humidity.
Yeah, his second half was huge. He was just kept going, kept ploughing through. His second, third efforts, his work around the footy was enormous, and I just feel really pleased for him. He's got that one out of the way, and now he can settle into his season now and get into it. We've got another big one next week against the Pies.
And just another former D, James Jordan, again, someone who really worked into the game well. I mean, we've been talking about him all pre-season, but what did you make of his first sort of hit out there?
Yeah, look, I thought the longer the game went, the better he went. And, those guys had a bit on this week, just sort of playing against their old team that they really respect and they love their old teammates. And so, to be able to come out, and the longer the game went, I thought he was better, got better and better so those boys were good.
Just on Brodie, how was he heading into the game? It's obviously nice fixturing by the AFL. He's up against his former side that he couldn't quite break into late last year, and also making his Swans debut.
Yeah, he was like all of us, I guess. He was sort of a little bit anxious, a little bit excited, and that's what he was, and probably a little bit more anxious and a bit more excited than the rest of us, because he comes into a new club and obviously against his old team, but he still knows he's a pro. He knows he's got to go out there and do a job, and he gets himself in a good state to be able to mentally during the week be able to go out there and deliver, and good start from him. Really
He played a really physical game against Max Gawn today. Is that something that you guys came to him with, or something that he picked up last year playing with Melbourne?
I just think that's Brodie's game. He's a big lad. He's a big fellow who loves the contest, and so that suits Max too. So they're just they're wonderful ruckmen, both of them. It's a great contest tonight to see the two of them going at it.
Matt Roberts was another one who was really impressive in that sort of back half. What did you make of his game tonight?
Yeah, he's good. He's only a third-year player, and you put that on top of our young mids, and great experience. For those boys. Matty Roberts is just another young fella finding his way, and he's had a wonderful pre-season. Played him down back this summer, and he's going to be a reasonable player, I reckon.
John, what was the message at third quarter time? Obviously, it was a comfortable win in the end, but they really, really lifted in the fourth quarter. What was the kind of messages
you probably put too much emphasis on the message. If I don't listen to the message too much, it's sort of generally fine, but I can't even remember. That's how profound it was. It was just about sort of just simply what we did. I thought we did really well in the third. We had 10 scoring shots to their 5. They kicked 5 straight. So we look at the board and our key indicators in the board in the third quarter. We're actually doing a lot well. And we were certainly getting back on top in the contest, which was crucial. We weren't good at that in the first half. So that was a good sign. And we were starting to get across the ground, and the boys, their feedback was they were running well. And so it was just more of the same. It was a wet weather game. The longer the game went, win your contest, pretty simple, surge it forward.
And the other thing was, obviously, the crowd were with you. It was a special night, a lot of legends there tonight from the club. The march, what was the response from the players coming into the sheds before the game? Were they more excited than normal?
Yeah, that's a good question. Don't know. It's something a bit different. There was sort of Tom Harley and I spoke about it probably 4 years ago, maybe even before COVID. Probably before COVID, would it be cool to do something like that? He's a big NFL fan, and we had a chat about it then, and we've sort of put it on the back burner. Tonight seemed like a good night with our 150th and opening the season. And it was amazing, walking along the scenes out the front there were huge. So it was something different, and hopefully our supporters really enjoyed it, and hopefully the people at home enjoyed it. Our players enjoyed it. That interaction with the fans, they were wonderful. We're lucky with our supporters. So to be able to get up close with our fans like that was awesome. They give you great energy.
You talked about the conditions. How important was it to leave that handball game behind and transition into a kickball game?
Yeah, we did that early, but we probably went a little bit bit more lateral probably early than what the conditions probably allowed, and that was probably on me. We were conscious of their defenders. They've got great defenders. But then it was become pretty obvious it was a bit too difficult to do. It was so slippery. So it was more of a straight line game. Then it just got bound to win in the contest. That was an important part of the second half.
How difficult is selection going to be when your 3 seasoned midfielders become available?
Oh, it's still a while. I'll kick that can down the road. So I won't worry about that until I have to. There's enough to worry about in this game. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.